We are the Doubted. My name is Josh Morse. I'm the vocalist.
Hi, I'm George. I'm the guitarist.
Chris, I play guitar.
I'm Jordan. I play drums.
And this is the Midwest Mixtape podcast.
Hey guys, this is JSTN, and this is the Midwest Mixtape podcast from The Barn, sponsored by BetterHelp, and I am sitting here with the pleasure of talking with the Doubted. How are you guys doing today?
Doing great, man. How are you?
Well.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
We're here talking about Notes for Hope once again. Here we are talking about your music, mental health, and we're gonna have a little chit chat and have a good time. So, how was the drive down here?
Not too bad. I just come from St. Louis, so it's only about an hour for me.
It was like an hour and a half. Yeah, it wasn't too bad.
Right. So, you guys are a melodic metal band, which I love that. I love heavy music that has melody to it. I like stuff that's real dirty, but not too dirty, you know? That stuff that sonically just tickles your brain, even while you're headbanging real heavy. So,
yeah, man.
That's some good stuff. So, of course, we're here for Notes for Hope. So this is for the 8th annual Notes for Hope. It's happening September 9th at 12 a.m. at the Park Hills Underground. It's going to be $12 in advance, and it's going to be $10 at the door. There will be craft vendors. It'll be an all-ages event, and bands that you can see will be these guys, The Doubted, Holding Ground, Skylines The Limit, At My Worst, The Stars Go Out, Degenerate and Deezyman, Juge, Ben Diesel, Party Crashers, King of Vagabonds, Alex Casnell, and the board of directors, as well as the founder himself, Keith Hafner. So let me ask you guys, what does mental health mean to you?
Man, that's a good question. I think mental health is really like just as important, if not more important, than like your regular physical health. You know, it's like it's every facet of your life, just day-to-day activities and just trying to be healthy, in general.
Right.
And, when things are fucked up whenever your head's not right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, the one common thing that I've talked about on all of these podcasts so far is that I love things like counseling, as far as like BetterHelp. We've got Everest Counseling. There's a ton of other things out there. And then, of course, music as a sort of therapy. And, having a support group, having your friends and doing, things you love, that's all therapy. And therapy is very important because, like you said, it's just like your actual physical health, if not more important, your mental health. And therapy is kind of like dieting or working out, exercise, things like that, that you do those things to take care of your body. Therapy and music and things like that take care of your mental health.
Yeah, we're definitely losing too many people to it.
Yeah, it's a worldwide epidemic. I myself am a survivor of it. So it's very, very important to get as much awareness out there as possible. Notes for Hope, I work and speak very closely with them. We're talking about doing multiple things, like trying to educate in schools and then do more of these benefits, maybe other events besides just concerts throughout the year. Just whatever we can to try to move along and try to get it in as many people's faces as possible, because it really is, it's a life or death situation.
Right.
And one of the common phrases that's been thrown around is it's okay to not be okay. Nobody's okay. You got to have bad days in order to have good days.
Right.
That's the whole yin and yang. If we all had good days, then it would be pretty boring. A pretty boring life, wouldn't it?
It wouldn't.
It wouldn't be very good because you'd be so used to it.
Right. Right. You definitely wouldn't appreciate it when things do go well for you, or when you do feel good.
Exactly. So that leads me to another question involving mental health would be, what would you guys suggest to someone going through a mental health crisis right this second?
Just First thing is realize there's so many people around you that care about you, even though it may not seem that way. It's like,
Yeah, reach out.
reach out, please.
It's hard to try and not feel, I don't know, embarrassed or feel like down about yourself that you're not worth it.
Yes.
Like, but I mean, just having a close friend group and being able to talk about it with at least one person
Exactly.
really gets you in the mindset of being able to help yourself.
Oh yeah, building yourself a support system is probably one of the most important things you can do for your mental health. Because having people to talk to is important. But even talking to strangers sometimes could be better than talking to a support group. You know, there's you might work a job, a day-to-day job where you're talking to random people every single day, and I've noticed people, you know, you go to the gas station and the clerk is telling you their entire life, but and you know, a lot of times you walk outside, you don't think anything of it, and you might even laugh about it, but at the same time, that's them reaching out.
Yeah.
You know, and so that's also where it's everybody's duty to not only speak up but to listen.
Right.
You know, it's speak up to a stranger, speak up to your support group, and then listen to a stranger, listen to your support group. And doing more of these things helps promote a better life for everybody.
And I would also say to the person, it's like, you don't need to feel like a burden if you are reaching out to someone. That person wants to be there for you, and because they love you and they care, you know.
Exactly.
I know it's hard to reach out sometimes because you don't want to make your issues somebody else's issues.
Right.
But that's not really how it works. It's like,
So how does music help you guys cope with your mental health or just with life in general?
I think sometimes, especially when George or I are writing lyrics, most of the time it is George, it's like talking about the things that are going on with you or have gone on with you in the past is like a way to really flesh out how you actually feel about those situations, you know? And it's a way to vent and a way to get things off your chest.
Right.
And it's good to like be able to share them, like not only with like your best friends who are here, but people you played music for and anyone else who might be going through the same thing or feeling the same way.
Right.
Universal language, for sure.
Yeah.
Right. That was another thing that's been thrown around in these interviews is it's something that I always say is music is the language for the soul.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't matter if you can even understand the lyrics or not. You can still feel the music and you can understand the emotion coming from it.
Yeah.
And 9 times out of 10, the emotion that's coming from it is personal from the person writing it.
It's so cool when everyone can relate to it completely differently. It's so what it's all about.
So I want to do a round table real quick. This is a round table question. I want to know how each of you got into music. I'm not just talking about, you know, how you got together. I want to know your origin story. What made you pick up your instrument and start going after it?
I guess I'll go first. This is George. Let's see. I was like 9 years old going to church, and they started like a youth group band. And so I started playing bass, taking a couple lessons, and I don't know. I started playing with them and sucking really bad. It's terrible. And then a couple of years later, I like started playing guitar. I wanted to be able to play like Sweet Child of Mine and shit. And, I sucked really bad, and I just sat there and sucked. And my mom bought me this $50 guitar from the janitor at school, and I just started learning all the classic rock songs and sucking my way through it. And
We all go through it.
yeah, and I guess eventually I got to play a talent show with Mr. Josh here in 7th grade. We played 21 Guns by Green Day, just me and him. I played electric.
There you
He
go.
played acoustic and sang.
So you mean like
And-
121
Yeah.
guns? Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
And this is the first time I ever like actually performed on guitar besides little stuff at church. And then I think I got into Green Day, and then Coheed and Cambria came up, and
Nice.
then Metallica, and then all of a sudden it was Avenged Sevenfold. And when I got into Avenged Sevenfold,
I can
man,
definitely tell Avenged Sevenfold influence in your guys' music. I can
music.
highly and I relate to that because my very first band was a middle school, very shitty played band, but that was our biggest influence.
yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, dude. I mean, right when I got into them, it's like I couldn't put the guitar down. I learned as much of that as I could. Downloaded all their music, and I mean, yeah, I just started getting into more of that, and I guess that's where my origin story came from.
And so you would say your influences are kind of like Green Day, Coheed and Cambria, Metallica, Avenged Sevenfold for you individually?
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It definitely started as alternative rock, or actually, I grew up on pop and country, to be honest.
Hey.
And then I got into rock, and it was like all over with. I couldn't stop. So I'm still there.
I totally hear you.
Yeah, I guess mine is fairly similar. When I was a kid, I would always be helping my dad out with stuff like in the garage or whatever, and he would always have various classic rock bands playing, like AC/DC and Zeppelin and Ozzy and stuff like that. And of course, that's all, very guitar-driven music. So I was like listening to that. I was like, is that actually possible to do? Like as a little kid, you're like, is he actually playing all that stuff? And then you find out that they are, and that you can learn how to do that eventually. And, so parents started buying me guitar lessons and kept like sticking with it. And then eventually I started taking lessons from this guy named Ian at this shop called Vagabonds in Cape.
Okay.
And did that for a few years probably. And then he's actually started taking lessons from him also.
That's where Unveil Me came from.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So we we were taking lessons from the same guy, and eventually we were like, why don't we just take them together? So we started doing guitar lessons together, and that's how, like you said, that's how Unveil Me came around.
That's a good way, I think, to tighten up your sound too. Like when you do have members that are going through lessons and stuff like that, it is really cool to see them do lessons and stuff together, because you're not just learning, you're learning together, and you're also learning each other's weaknesses and strengths and each other's style and kind of like what works and what doesn't work. And I had a similar relationship with a former member of an old band of mine, and it works. It really does work. So definitely hang on to that as long as you can.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's why, I think when we play live, we all have pretty good chemistry together, and I think a lot of that's probably wise, because we started playing and making music together when we were so young.
Yeah, I mean, we've all known each other or besides Chris, since second grade.
And you guys, Cape Central, was it?
Yep.
That's pretty cool.
All but Chris.
3 of us. Chris is from, we'll let him tell in a minute, but he's from Utah.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. So I guess we'll go ahead and lead on to Chris if you don't have anything else to add.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
Let's go.
So, yeah, I mean, I think that's probably part of why we are in a band together, is because growing up, all of us kind of had basically more or less the same artists that we grew up listening to. Because, I mean, growing up in high school, my favorite band, all I would ever listen to is Avenged Sevenfold for years.
I remember a long time ago, Sinister Gates and Matt Shadows, the combination of their voices, and then Zachy's guitar playing with Sin was those were goals to me. Yeah. I remember watching the old documentaries that they did, and that stuff really inspires you as a musician. Oh, yeah. So I totally relate to that.
Yeah, no, I remember watching those, and
the All Access.
I would just constantly rewatch and just binge them all the time.
I binged it last year, so I get you.
Yeah, and just watching those videos of just their whole recording process was very inspirational.
It sticks with you forever.
They're all just in a room hanging out basically, and they're just jamming, more or less. But no, I think my musical background, because my dad played guitar. I have 3 older brothers, and they all played different instruments. One plays guitar, one plays bass, one plays drums. And
so I had the family band situation going on.
Pretty much, yeah. So I was just constantly surrounded by music, and at that time my mom was playing piano still.
Okay.
So we had a stand-up piano in the house, and instruments everywhere.
So you were super lucky as far as coming into the music, because you had music all around you.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah. And yeah, my parents were never super strict, so they, for the most part, let me listen to whatever I wanted to.
Oh yeah, so you got to really explore your options.
Yeah, but yeah, I think Green Day was. I remember there was this kid named Daniel that used to live down the street from me. I was probably 6 or 7 years old, but he came over one time, and we were just scrolling through my dad's computer on Napster.
Oh, old Napster.
And yeah, he showed me. I can't even remember what song it was, but it was a Green Day song. And for whatever reason, this memory just sticks in my head of I was wow, I really like this. This is.
I really want to do this.
It was my first ever experience with music that was pulled me in.
Right.
I guess. And I started playing both guitar and drums when I was 3 or 4 years old. So
yeah, this man is our guitar player, and he has a drum degree.
Gotcha.
Yeah, well, yeah. So that's how me and him met. Was we went to the same school together out in L.A.
Okay.
And they were roommates. Yeah, we got dormed together randomly.
And so it was just fate.
Yeah, pretty much. I thought what I wanted to do at that time was play drums.
But hey,
I'm still not convinced. But
having that background's really important, though, because I mean, do you mainly do like leads, rhythms, or do you guys kind of like switch it up?
as of right now, I'm pretty much just doing rhythm,
And
because he wrote like everything on the first album,
right,
which is basically all we have out right now. So,
and that's super important, having that rhythmic background,
right, yeah.
with rhythm guitar, because I mean, I think it was the Foo Fighters. David Grohl mentioned how going to guitar was super easy for him, as far as rhythmically, because he was a drummer. Yeah. And so the transition was super, and that's kind of universal for all instruments, I think. You know, as far as if you're coming from piano and going over to guitar, all you got to do is look at it as it's laid out as a piano, only in guitar form.
Right.
You know.
Yeah, that he describes it. I remember that interview with Dave Grohl. He describes it like he's playing the guitar like a kick drum and a snare.
See, that's kind of. I won't talk about myself a whole lot, but that's kind of how I came up. You know, I'm a lead singer, but I've played rhythm guitar as the lead singer before, and I came from a drumline background in high school. So, I mean, I never really stuck with drums too heavy, but it really helped with the rhythm and stuff, especially when you're trying to focus on singing lyrics and stuff like that, too. So,
right.
Jordan was a savage quint player. Holy shit.
Yeah.
There you go.
Oh, my God.
I played snare myself.
Probably a good segue to go into yours.
Looky there.
Yeah.
So I did come from a strict family. Like we listened to Michael W. Smith, and it was basically Christian music until I was about 6. One of my best friends growing up started taking piano lessons when he was 5, Chandler Brown, and then I don't know why, my whole family's super musical, but I was like super jealous that he was taking piano lessons, so I begged my mom for piano lessons. Mm-hmm. And I went for 3 years, and I hated every freaking lesson I ever took. All we would play is the stupid etudes, and which I realize are important now, but
yeah,
I wanted to play, like, we had a Pirates of the Caribbean book of soundtrack.
There you go.
And I was like,
that's one of the better soundtracks.
I'm saying Hans Zimmer and Klaus Baudet.
Oh yeah.
But so that fizzled out, and my brother had a drum set, but
And an iPod.
no, it was a Discman, and he had to burn his own floppy disks. But yeah, so it was pretty much like Step Brothers, like, don't touch my drum set, I'll kill you.
That meme that's been going around lately.
Exactly.
I feel like someone's touched my drum set.
Yeah. And so I'd get home from school before him. I was 10, I think. I started playing drums. The only two things he had burned on the floppy disk were Blink's Greatest Hits and Bullet from a Valentine's the Poison. Mm-hmm. So I just started off with Travis Barker. I thought it was easy enough.
What a great drummer to learn from.
Yeah, exactly. And there's not so much going on their records to where everything's super clear. You can hear exactly what he's hitting and what he's playing.
Oh yeah.
Nothing's buried. And so it just got to that, and I got bored of playing the same album over and over again. But I had to start with that because I couldn't jump into Bullet. But after that, I started playing the Bullet album, and like to this day, I still consider them my favorite band, even though I know I'm gonna get a lot of hate for that.
Oh, I like Bullet. Bullet's good stuff.
But yeah, so I started playing when I was 10 behind his back. Then he went to college, and I kind of just took over the drum set. He's 8 years older than me, so about 11. Yeah, the next year he went off to college and couldn't take it, and it's still in my house actually. And so it just went from that, and then I went through his old library, like after we got iTunes. It was all like All That Remains, Kill Switch, who else back from that era, As They Lay Dying, all the metalcore. Like I'm a metalcore kid.
Metalcore is my jam.
So then I don't know, after that I started playing for church when I was 14 to get out of youth group. So I just go and practice.
No better way.
Yeah. And they were okay with that. So high school, I was in drumline.
Perfect.
Played quints, and then
my brother played quints.
I thought snare was boring. You get one drum to hit.
I enjoyed snare, but I get the wanting to do the
Excitability,
points.
yeah.
It's very
It's very showy.
Right.
I like. Everybody says I look bored behind the drum set,
Very
but I'm literally not
shredding.
you're just focused.
No fucking.
I'm 110% trying not to fuck up.
Right. Okay, well, I mean,
The click
you got
and
the
staying
rhythm
with
going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean,
Everybody
yeah,
moves at your pace.
I've just been playing consistently, which is weird. I don't know, starting off with those bands. A lot of people start easy, or I've never had lessons. So it was all just about, you go around, you see what each drum sounds like, you see what each cymbal, what makes the sound. Then I can't really read drum music. I learned by listening, so everything's just listen and repeat. But yeah.
That must have been pretty hard in drumline.
Oh,
Trying
no,
to read.
I can read that.
Okay,
But not
gotcha.
drum
You
set.
mean like tabs and drum set?
Yeah, anything for drum set, I'm just completely lost.
Okay. All
There's
right.
too many notes.
Well, I think since we've gone around the table real quick, we're going to go ahead and take a quick music break. I think we're going to go with This Is the End.
He's right.
All right, we're going to go into a break, and we're going to listen to This Is the End by The Doubted.
Born to rock at the T.O.P. Pull back blondes, you can see us free. Loose from the locks that have held us, short from the marks that we made, growing roots like trees. Here today, but not gone tomorrow. Set the path that only you can follow. Too tough to quit and give up and wallow. The real world appeal too big to swallow. But I made my amends, accepted our sins. Goal is to make a better world for the kids. A mismatched gen, together like twins. Breaking all the rules, never worked just to bend. So you see this hate is fuel to me. Never really cared that America was cool to me. Used to me what I did they never would get. Used the powers against, but I sent it to 6. But I unplugged, to merge with a new tune. Scrape through all trash like raccoons. So on my way, I knew that I'd be back soon. Like the only way to cope with the bad news. Dead body taking over my timeline. Another brother being killed at the stop sign. Damn God, is your will, cause it's not mine. Give us more time, so don't stop firing. Cause I know we can do better. Working as a people, we can make it through whatever. Shouting at us people, how we make it through this weather. Cause it's only getting colder. I mean,
So that was This Is the End by The Doubted. I love that song. I listened to it yesterday, and I probably blared it like 5 times back to back before I listened to the rest of your guys' songs. And hell yeah. By far my favorite. You guys have an amazing sound. That one really was the one that grabbed me the most. I really love you kept your typical style sound, your heavy metal grooving, the guitars driving, and you know, all the fun stuff that makes you guys what you are. But the real cool like reggae ska style, like offbeat guitar shit in there was pretty cool for the instrumental. And then having the Rapsmith, what was his full name?
Shane the Rapsmith.
Shane the Rapsmith. That was a really good groove to throw a rapper in, and I'm glad you guys did, because it really brought out what you guys can do. I think it really proved that you guys aren't just go straight in and be hardcore and melodic. You know, you really brought back the groove a little bit and kind of changed shit up a little bit, and you noticed that and brought someone in who could make it even better than what it was as its own. You want to talk about that song a little bit, like how the idea behind it came naturally, and kind of like the lyrics, what it means to you and things like that?
Hell yeah. So back in high school, actually, is when I wrote the first, like, I don't know, 2 minutes of it. And it sat. I wrote it in GarageBand, and it sat for 7-8 years before I picked it up again and just basically finished it. And what was it? Yeah, so like once I finished it, my homie Brendan Williams from Cape, we were in LA at the time. He was stationed up in Sacramento. He came down to visit, and he was just chilling in the house one day, like in the afternoon, and I like had this thought, and I pulled it up, and he just started freestyling over it.
Oh wow.
And I was like, holy shit, okay, that's gonna happen. fast forward 2 years or a year and a half later, I guess, is when we actually got them on, like, to record for it. And yeah, I mean, that's how it came to be.
I think being on the outside looking in, being a musician and a listener, I think some of the greatest songs ever written from some of your favorite bands have all been somebody freestyled something.
Yeah, right.
And then you just built around it because it was so cool. And I think there's a beauty to that because it's the most natural form of creating music. Because, you know, a lot of people, you know, you sit down in sessions in a room or maybe the computer if you're doing it remotely or whatever, or some people write songs in studio. I've done all three. And something about that, just you trying to write something, sometimes you get hit and miss stuff, and it can be frustrating or it can be super exciting. But I think the natural build of just something that came right off the fly and you're just like, damn, that was fucking good.
Definitely. Yeah. Like, I like to consider myself as like or actually probably all of us would be like more of a composer style writer, but
I can relate.
Whenever I sit down to write, this is just me, I will usually either sing what's in my head and try and put it on paper or something or figure it out, or I will improvise it on guitar like a solo or or I'll just sit down with my voice memos and just start riffing, and I'll just pick out one little spot out of it and then just build a whole song off of it.
And yeah, I mean,
it's so much, I don't know, it feels genuine, it feels like you're saying natural, yeah,
right,
yeah, way more natural than like sitting there and really thinking about it. But I mean, there's no wrong way to write music, I feel like, though. So
yeah, we so whenever that kind of resurfaced, was about the same time that the big Black Lives Matter movement was happening, and I think a big part of that was us wanting to do something that was just a little bit more than, you know, like posting a black square on Instagram or whatever. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but like just to kind of show our own solidarity with their movement and all of that.
So this song kind of spawned from that?
Definitely the lyrics. We wrote it was me and Josh, I feel like, wrote the chorus. That was first, and then everything else came after that for lyric-wise. Because we tend to write the songs first and then write lyrics to them.
Okay.
And things change along the way.
That can be a great way of writing a song.
Of course, yeah. So I'm trying to remember. I was driving to Ralph's in L.A., and there was two ladies with, like, on the side of the road with Black Lives Matter protest signs. Yeah, I can. And I honked, and I think it said honk, whatever. I can't remember exactly what it says, but it just came.
Horn if you're honky.
Yeah, horn if you're honky. That's exactly what it said. But it just came to me. I sat in the Ralph's parking lot and wrote the chorus lyrics. At least the "We fight, we bleed, we are brothers, we are one." It doesn't matter what we say or what we feel, but what is done. I'm pretty sure that's what what came out.
That's poetry right there. Yeah, that's awesome. Anything as far as like the rhythm section, I guess you can say.
I don't know. I think Tyler wrote most of the drums on that before George did.
Yeah, I mean, Tyler definitely revised them, but Tyler was our old drummer. And shit, we got Jordan maybe a year after we moved back.
I think so.
So like 2021-ish.
Yeah, I think it was
the end of 2021.
October, November.
Yeah, no, it was January 2022. That's what it was.
That was written before I joined.
Okay.
Yeah.
George does a lot of the pre-drum writing, just to get what's in his head and what the grooves that they feel.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Just a rough draft stuff. I in the past, like me writing drums, I create ridiculously impossible fills.
Impossible.
But Tyler just decided to not fix them.
Tyler wouldn't say anything, and he'd just learn them.
That's kind of the opposite, I think. A drummer trying to write lyrics or trying to write guitar without prior experience.
Yeah.
It's like they create chords that never existed. And I get that. That's kind of like the reverse engineer process. That's really cool. Like I love that song. I love how it grooves. Like I said, that's definitely the one that definitely hooked on to me the most.
Hell yeah.
And definitely reaching back out to your guys' influences like Metallica and Avenged Sevenfold. I think it definitely speaks to that. So definitely keep up that.
Oh, hell yeah.
Because that's definitely it all sounds amazing, but that song definitely really hooks you.
And George, I don't know if you'd agree, but there's this overarching like growth of like a volume and anger as the song continues.
Definitely.
So at the beginning, it's just chill and calm. They're speaking their mind, but at the end, they're screaming for.
Well, yeah, it's
shit to
Josh.
Change.
Right.
Josh and Brendan. Brendan's rapping. Josh is screaming. Brendan is Shane. Shane the Rapsmith.
Shane the Rap.
Yeah, and they're both together in sync. And
Yeah.
I just feel like that's like the end goal.
The unification. You were talking about Black Lives Matter and the whole idea of the song coming up to be it's kind of like the whole shouting at the protests and things like that. So that's really cool. I did not know that when I listened to it, but knowing that now really makes the song even cooler. So hell yeah. So since we just talked about the sound a little bit with the song, and we talked about your individual origin stories, how you guys got to music. So I want to bring it back now that we're after the break, and I want to talk about how did you guys form the Doubted? Like, how did you go from playing as 4 different members and formed the Doubted? And how have you guys kind of progressed since the beginning?
So, like, George and I, we'd been making music together since we were kids. But going through high school, I was always a lot more busy with, like, athletics and things like that. So George created another project, the Torch Anomaly, that he was in for a little while. And then we graduated high school and pretty much went in opposite directions of the country. Like, I went out to Tennessee to play baseball, and a year later he went to LA to pursue music.
Well, hold on. We skipped a step real quick.
I was going to go.
Oh, you're going to go back? Because like how it started was me and Tyler, our old drummer. It was like less than a year before I was going to leave for school, and we wrote like the album, or the Sacrifice, the original EP, I guess. And we got done with it and released it, and we were like, fuck, man, we want to play shows. So we were like, okay, we got our homie Rigel plays bass and Josh plays guitar. So I sang and played lead guitar, Josh played rhythm guitar and then the harmonies, and then Tyler on drums, Rigel on bass. And we played 3 shows in St. Louis, and I moved to LA. And then a year or 2 later, boom, like Josh, I think it was Tyler recorded you or something.
Yeah.
Singing Unveil Me, and I was like, what the fuck? Why am I singing? Like, I don't want to be a front man. You be the front man, man. You got the vocals, man. So
Hey, that's how some of the greatest vocalists were.
yeah, and then I met and then I met Chris at school, and I was like, he's a shredder, and even though he's in a drum program, and we got him as our second guitar player. Now that Josh was going to move to vocals, sorry, I'm so far away from the mic.
No,
And yeah, I didn't mean to interrupt you, Josh. But
Oh, you're good.
yeah, going back to you coming from another instrument and being the vocalist, I think that's how some of the greatest vocalists of all time have
Miles
really brought their way out. At least some of my favorites, because even with we talked about Avenged Sevenfold a lot, and I feel like that's one that is relatable. Is Matt Shadows, M Shadows. He started as playing piano and guitar, and that's what he wanted to do in a band, and then somehow he ended up being the singer. And bands like one of my favorites is Fall Out Boy, and Patrick Stump started out drumming, and that's what he intended to do for Fall Out Boy before they brought their drummer in, and they're like, no, you've got like an angel for a voice, so you're gonna do this now. And then Dave Grohl came from drumming, and formed Foo Fighters, started playing guitar and singing, and he's a good vocalist. So yeah, that's that's really cool. It's cool that you guys got that going on.
Yeah, there's a lot of drummers that turned into singers.
That does seem to
Atreyu is the same way.
Seems to be the pattern, yeah. And even like the Rev, he was the drummer for Avenged Sevenfold, but I mean, he did a lot of vocals, and he came from a vocal piano background. So
yeah, didn't he sing in Pinkly Smooth?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Pinkly Smooth was
his side
amazing.
project.
him and Sin's side project.
Yep.
And you can't forget about Phil Collins. I mean,
Yeah.
Yep.
Miles Kennedy. Well, he's guitar, but
So wrapping it back around to origin story. So
Oh yeah, and then so I ended up getting hurt and not being able to play baseball anymore.
Okay.
So I came back to St. Louis for a year, and during this time he's out in L.A. with Chris, and I remember like sitting in my basement at my parents' house, and this was before I had started singing. George is FaceTiming me in his new dorm. He's like showing me around and everything, and then he shows me I'm pretty sure it was either a guitar case or an amp, and
it was both.
It was both. And it has the Deathbat logo drawn on it.
Oh, hell
I'm
yeah.
like, that's fucking sick. And George is like, yeah, this is my new roommate. I haven't even met him yet, but I already know we're going to be friends because, the Deathbat was drawn on
I mean,
it.
you can't not be friends with somebody who's got a death bat.
Right.
Right.
I just remember thinking like, oh shit, he's meeting other musicians. He's gonna leave us. He's gonna start a new band. It's all over. But then
Never crossed my mind.
But then eventually we decided that it'd be the best move for us all to just go to LA because, he's already there. Chris is already there. That's kind of a hub, of course.
Right.
So we did. And we ended up moving out there in 2018 and played a few shows out there at some really cool venues. Like our very first show out there was at the Whiskey A Go Go in LA, which is pretty sweet. And then playing like House of Blues in Anaheim and stuff like that.
Oh, hell yeah.
It's a lot of fun. And then
We played a porn star's house.
Oh, that's perfect.
it's a stage in his backyard.
I want to know about that story. How did that come to be?
I have no idea.
Either. I don't remember how we booked that.
Okay.
Yeah, what is his
remember?
name?
I have
Nasty
no
Pete.
idea.
Nasty Pete.
What's his name?
I don't think I'm going to look him up later.
Mr. Pete. Mr. Pete. That's his name. Anyway, he had like a fucking multi-million-dollar house with like 2 or 3 roommates and a whole ass stage in his backyard.
Oh, hell yeah. And house shows are some of the best shows,
Yeah, it was
especially when you got somebody that's got that multi-million-dollar house. So, yeah, that's pretty cool.
George was also interning at Sumerian.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Sumerian Records. You ever heard of that?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
I have.
It was
Some of
sick.
the best bands of all time have also came out of Sumerian.
Periphery.
Yeah. So we were there from 2018 to 2020. And then, of course, the pandemic hits in 2020 and basically shuts that whole industry down unless you're going to do live stream stuff. But so that's happening and our lease is coming up. And we're like, so do we try to wait this out, not knowing how long things are going to be locked down, you know? Or do we, relocate back home and where we're not spending an assload of money on rent and cost of living and stuff out there. So, so we decided to make the move back. And then not long after that, that's when Jordan joined.
Cool.
And started drumming for him.
Oh, yeah. So you guys have listed a couple of ways that you've written some of the songs we've played already. Is there a particular format of how, and you said you're composers and stuff, but is there one specific, this is how the Doubted writes a song, or is there multiple ways that you guys write a song? Does it always start instrumental, then you add lyrics, or?
Yeah, I mean, as far as my writing process goes, it's more I just experiment with stuff because I'm not a professional songwriter by any means.
Right.
Because like for the most part, I don't really know what I'm doing. So I don't know even with just playing guitar, like I don't know a whole lot of hardly any theory, at least anymore. And so like
Feel ya.
I never took any lessons or anything. I'm just completely self-taught. So like I kind of just do what feels or sounds right. And as far as like songwriting goes, it's more of just kind of whatever different ideas for songwriting I have or that pop into my head for certain songs, whether I want, like I'm doing one song now that's like basically just there's no repeating sections. It's just like a super experimental song.
Dream Theater.
And so, yeah. And so like, it just makes no sense. But then like
an 8-minute masterpiece.
yeah. But then you have like the obvious ones that are like verse, chorus, like super standard.
Right.
That's just me though.
Yeah, I mean, like the first album or EP and album, I guess, which the album Surfacing is basically a remastered Sacrifice with 4 new songs and Josh Saul on vocals instead of me. So we kind of like just disregard Sacrifice in a way, but so like most of that was written by me and Tyler, and since we were like redoing some of it, we had some input from the rest of the guys. But now, I mean, I don't want to do that anymore. I enjoy writing songs by myself, but I want to experiment with how, like, for example, Periphery will sit down in a room with all 6 of them guys or 5 of them guys and just shoot out ideas and write together. And I really want to eventually get to that point, whereas right now we're kind of like solidifying our own ideas. Me and Chris mostly are solidifying our own ideas and then bringing them together and just kind of adding and, taking out whatever, editing in them, adding whatever, and then writing the drums together with Jordan, and then writing I'll mainly write a lot of the lyrics, and then Josh will come in and we'll work on them together, solidifying them.
Adding to that, one of the bands that I don't know if you guys have played with yet, but I know you're playing Notes for Hope with them, and I think you might have another show lined up with them. My homies from Holding Ground.
Yeah, we just
played with them last Saturday.
I was gonna say, and one thing that I am still astounded by when you're talking about throwing spitballs back and forth as far as ideas go, that's how Holding Ground completely operates. They have one specific day that they practice every week.
Yep.
I mean, every now and then life happens and one guy can't make it, but they always try. They have one place where they all gather and they spitball those ideas back and forth. And let me tell you, each one of those members is a completely different personality. Yeah. They all have a completely different, crazy, wacky idea. They all have different styles of music that they enjoy. And somehow they keep that spitballing back and forth and building on each other.
I met Cody I met most of them. I talked to Cody and Justin? Jake. Their bassist. What's his name?
Oh, Justin.
Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah.
Yep.
I met both of them and talked to them the most. And yeah, totally different, but super sweet guys. Like, really adamant about what they're doing too.
Yeah, and so going off of the whole spitballing ideas, do it. I'm telling you, it will. Do it. Yeah, I mean, it'll totally pay off. I'm telling you.
We're in the midst of like wanting to cut each other's heads off at some points. Sometimes
they do too.
Yeah, and all I think is just like this is how it's got to be. It'll get better from here. It'll get better. Mm-hmm. And I want it so much. Like I don't want it all to be me. If I wanted to be all me, I would just do my like side project. George, whatever. And so like, but like how it was is just that's what we had. We had me and Tyler. We wrote it all, and that was all we had. We had no intention of even being in a band, like playing, and until we got it released, and then we're like, "Fuck, we need a band. I really want to play."
Right.
So and then but I want it to be like that for sure.
I mean, you want to, and if I have any advice for you, do it. Do it.
Even whenever we are getting in that point of like, we're just like, basically more or less just arguing with each other and like sitting in a room. Really, all that is just you guys trying to work things out.
Yeah, dude. Me and Tyler
specific parts.
Holy shit! And now I just remembering now is just we used to like literally try to kill each other while we were playing. We would never like be that aggressive, but we'd yell at each other, get pissed off, and always get to the end goal that we both wanted somehow.
The real question is who would win
in a fight. Josh Morris.
He's got the height advantage.
He's got that reach.
He also played football. None of us did.
Barely.
Chris, did you play football?
He was a quarterback.
I played defense.
I played a little D back in my day.
Safety.
Yeah.
There you go.
I didn't know you played both sides.
Anything else to add to the writing process?
Me and George kind of we experienced. We're still like getting used to writing with each other.
And it takes time.
Because like you said, because like the two of us, we've only ever written by ourselves, and so like it's really difficult to learn to come together all the time.
I hear you, especially when you're used to operating one way, writing songs on your own, and then you kind of build a pride around that. You let your ego get out there, and then when somebody else comes in and almost shits on your idea, maybe not in a bad way, maybe completely constructive way, you just start getting defensive, and you're just like, but
Right.
you know, it's always worked for me before, and this is a great idea. Like, back off, man. Like, but that's how the spitballing works, and that's why I'm saying, like, the make or break. It will do that, but more than likely it's gonna make it.
Yeah.
I think if you can stick through the bullshit, you know, ego stuff, because everybody's got an ego. You just gotta remember, at the end of the day, y'all are basically a family, and you know, even if you have to turn your back for a minute, you gotta come back and talk it out, just like a family would.
Right.
Yeah, I'm getting to the point where, like, I'm kind of understanding that, like, anything that I want to bring to the table for the Doubted, I need to be willing to let go of it as well.
Yeah.
And if I can't do that, then I probably shouldn't be bringing it to the table.
And then you're talking about the whole side project. If there's an idea that you absolutely have to hang on to,
Exactly.
and it's just not working with everybody, save it for the side project.
Right.
That's why people have side projects. I've got a million of them. So we talked about the music. We kind of talked. I mean, we've came full circle. We talked about your music, your writing process, your origin stories, mental health. I have one round table question for you before we get into the other music break. Is if you could rewind time before you guys started picking up an instrument, what had drove you guys? If music wasn't an option, what would you be doing? And Josh, I think after hearing you talk a little bit, I think I've got an idea of what you might have been doing. But I want to hear it from your mouth, and I want to hear everybody else as well. What would you be doing if music wasn't an option for you?
Man, I would probably be coaching baseball if.
I knew it was something along those lines.
Yeah, because I mean, of course, I loved it my whole life. I mean, I still do, of course.
If he didn't get hurt, he'd be major leagues, or at least minor leagues. He's a fucking hell of a player.
Hell yeah.
I don't know about all that, but
shut up.
It was fun. But yeah, that's probably what I would be doing.
Something baseball oriented.
Yeah.
Okay. And you like the idea of coaching?
I do. I like the idea of coaching. And also, my first year of college was in exercise science. So I thought I wanted to be a trainer or a physical therapist. One of the two. So
you've got the knack for wanting to actually, like, you know, take your skill and show somebody else how to.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay, cool. That's awesome. I mean, and the world needs more teachers and stuff too. So.
Oh yeah.
So it seems like even if music hadn't worked out, you know, you had a path. That was good.
Yeah.
There you go. Anybody else?
I'd probably be doing what I'm doing now. So I have a molecular and microbiology degree.
Oh, hell yeah.
And right now I work as a path assistant in a hospital.
That's awesome.
So
Pathologist?
pathologist assistant.
Okay. I didn't know that.
The goal was always med school, and then you get to college and you're like, damn, I'm average as fuck. Like, I'm not smart anymore. So
you went from big fish in little pond to
definitely, yeah,
big fish in the ocean.
Probably still be something in healthcare. I'm obsessed with science and how shit works. So
awesome. That's really cool, especially like when you're trying to do music behind like a drum kit. You kind of transfer that mathematical science kind of thing.
Oh, very.
Do you kind of see when? Not just musically, like when you see things, do you see things in like a rhythmic kind of mathematical way?
Oh yeah, everything's a pattern.
I see that a lot with drummers.
Yeah, it's nice.
That's a cool skill.
It's also infuriating though when something's not.
Yeah,
you just can't grasp
OCD
why
just
it's. Yeah,
kicks in and
exactly.
you're just like, man,
it's like, why not? If we change this one thing, it'll be perfect, and it'll just repeat and repeat. You do the same thing every time. I don't know. I might. Yeah. ADD, ADHD.
I feel you.
Yeah.
Dude, I've been just trying to think, like, I feel like I don't remember what I even was like before I like dove into music. I feel like it's been my whole life. Like all the time. I'm just, I don't know. What in sports maybe? I don't know.
Dude, I feel like you'd be writing manga for some anime.
Dude, I didn't get into manga until I didn't even get into anime until I was in college.
Yeah.
Hey, I can talk about some anime.
Right?
I'm big into a lot of the greats like Naruto and hell yeah, and then Yu Yu Hakusho, Inuyasha. Of course, everybody's a Pokemon fan.
Like Demon Slayer. Fan
Yeah.
of Demon Slayer.
Yeah.
You've been watching Jujutsu Kaisen?
I haven't.
Check it out. It's
Dude,
sick.
I haven't had the time.
They have Naruto references in the show. It's fucking
Oh,
epic.
hell yeah. Okay, I might have to.
I really can't. I don't know. I something like that. Go ahead, Chris. Sorry.
That is a question that I've thought about a lot, like just over my entire life, really.
Mm-hmm. That's a natural thing.
I mean, maybe because I used to snowboard, and I kind of did motocross
Okay.
when I was in Utah, but like I never really had any sort of
Big
like
passion.
real talent for it. Like I could do it,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm somewhat good at it, but like
Well,
I was never able to progress. Like I
Well-
would try to do certain things, and I just wouldn't be able to, no matter how much I tried.
I could tell you that if music wasn't an option, you never would have thought of it. If you would have put the same motivation you've put into music into one of those things, I guarantee you would have had the talent that you think you're lacking in.
Dude, I can see you right now, like, making videos of Nitro Circus and Travis Pastrana. I can see it. Or at least, like, riding with them
There you go.
for fun, you know?
But I've always thought that, there's never, if I had the choice to go back, or even now just completely change,
Mm-hmm.
aside from like money and like whatever resources, there wouldn't be anything.
Right. Same.
Like
Hey, and
music is
it's a good thing music
so
was an
ingrained
option.
into me. Like literally everything that I do. Like, I mean, George is the same way. We're constantly like, when we're at work, we're just tapping and like whistling or singing or all day, every day. It's just something is going on in my head, and it's just there's nothing
Right.
that
Yeah.
could match it.
Yeah, I mean, and like I said, it's a good thing that music was an option, you know, because
Yeah.
I'm just like with you. I thought about, what are other things that I'm passionate about that I could have done if music wasn't an option, and I have a list of a million things. There's podcasting, radio, there's writing, not just songs but other things. I've thought about all that, but I'm glad music has always been there. And it's definitely been the best release for the mental health. It's been the greatest experience out there.
Yeah.
I'm proud to say we're probably the last generation to not say influencer.
I think it's moving more from influencer to content creator.
Oh, my bad.
Everybody's a content creator now. But, I mean, honestly, though, to sink or float, if you're doing anything creatively or business-wise, you got to be a content creator. I mean,
that's what I was gonna say. Like, it's we basically are content creators and influencers.
Right.
I mean, it's the same way Avenged Sevenfold influenced us.
Yeah.
We're going to be doing it for other people.
Yeah.
And that's like part of why we do it too,
Exactly.
is to move people the same way that we were moved. So like,
Inspire.
Giving back.
it's basically the same thing.
Right. There you go. Well, since we've heard everything musically and just gotten to know you guys a little bit personally, I say it's a good time to get into the we talked about the disease of music. So how about we get into the next music break with Diseased by The Doubted. So that was Diseased by The Doubted. Let's hear a little bit about that. So how did that song come to be?
So that actually is an original song from my first band.
Okay. And which band was that?
The Tortured Anomaly.
Oh, hell yeah. That's...
Diami, if you're hearing this, I love you. No, yeah, we kind of, that's one of the songs I brought to the band, and I think we only played shows for maybe a year, a little more than a year, and broke up, and I don't know, it was one of those songs that I felt like I couldn't let it go, so I reused it, I guess, and we revised it and whatnot, and now it's what you hear. It used to not be quite like that. I mean, the structure's the same, but there's a lot more parts in it now. But lyrically, I mean, I was just, I guess, writing about my shit in high school,
Yeah.
high school
Happens to the
days,
best of us.
and I mean, essentially, it's kind of dark, but the last lyric is, what is shit? Now I can't think of.
I have cured.
No, right before that. Crap.
Now that I've gone.
Now that I've gone, meaning I've removed myself from this world. I've cured the disease.
There you go.
And that's just kind of like my thought process back then. It's just like there's no point. I've definitely grown since then, but that's kind of where it came from. That whole song.
That's kind of the adolescent man mentality, I think, for a lot of people.
Sure.
You go through all that crap, you bottle up so long because you're taught that growing up. That's one thing I've talked about in the previous podcasts is, mental health is super important for everybody, of course. But I think men, one specific topic is just, it's okay to not be masculine all the damn time. Let your emotions out, talk to people and things like that. And adolescence, you don't have that confidence. You don't really have that knowledge. A lot of the time you don't even know your own damn feelings.
Yeah.
So you bottle that shit up and then you write songs about it.
Yeah.
But hey, it seems like it worked out because it's a great song.
Thank you.
So,
yeah, I mean, that was all of that was written by George, and I think being around that same age, going through, obviously having a different experience, but having some of the same kind of thoughts about it makes it hit home for me because it's like the things that he wrote, I was like, I could really identify with, which really makes it one of my more favorite songs to play and was one of my favorite songs to record. So
cool.
I just get to like portray what he was feeling, which is
there you go. It's cool to play it's cool to play the part of someone else sometimes, ain't it?
Yeah. Especially when you relate to it so much.
Right.
And I think that ties into all like the music, like all the emo and the punk music that everybody listens to
The
for
angst.
therapy. Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's just another way to like they're going through the same shit and they're 4,500 miles away in California or something, and their outlet is this, and me listening to it is like this. It just shows you're not alone and the stuff. A lot of times you just feel like you're the only person.
And I think it also proves how lucky you guys are, and any musician that went through a phase like that. Not everybody gets to say, "Hey, I wrote a song about it, and now I feel better." A lot of people bottle that shit up for years and work a day job and never pursue any other passions that they work on a family or whatever like that, and they just keep pushing it under the rug, and it just keeps building that pressure. And so it's I think it's definitely a blessing to have an outlet like music to get it out.
Oh yeah, 100%.
So getting into that, once again, you guys are here to talk about yourselves as well as Notes for Hope, and you guys are playing the 8th annual Notes for Hope. It's going to happen September 9th at 12 a.m. or 12 p.m. I said a.m. earlier, I believe, because I wrote it down. Not so good. Anyway, that's happening at the Park Hills Underground. It's going to be an all-day event, and it's going to be $12 in advance, $10 at the door. There will be craft vendors as well outside, so that's another cool thing for performing art. $12 at the door, $10 in advance. We're gonna set that record straight.
So I didn't mean to call.
No, you're good, man. You're good. Thank you for calling me out on it. And then, of course, like I said, the craft vendors, there will be plenty of crafts outside and stuff like that. Hang out with these guys, hang out with everybody there. The people that will be there will be the Doubted, of course. We'll have the Holding Ground. We'll have Skylines the Limit, At My Worst. The Stars Go Out, Degenerate and Deezyman, Y, Juge, Ben Diesel, Party Crashers, Kings and Vagabonds, Alex Kasnell and the board of directors, and our very own Keith Hafner, the founder himself. And it's going to be an all ages event. It's going to be a cool thing. Bring your kids, hang out with these guys, hang out with the other bands, hang out with Keith, hang out with the vendors, hang out with me. I'll be there emceeing. So
yeah, I'm so glad we're getting to play this year because we were asked last year and homeboy Josh was having a kid. So
how
we
dare
had to
you?
skip it out.
How dare you, Josh? Well, why would you have a kid at that time? Nah, man. You guys got any other shows coming up?
Yeah, so actually the next show after that would be our October 17th at Pops, and we're stoked to announce, or actually, I don't know, we haven't even announced yet, but we're opening up for Fear Factory with Hard Graves and the other band that's touring with Fear Factory.
Cool.
It's probably going to be one of the biggest shows we've played.
Oh, yeah.
Hopefully, at least. Yeah, and we're really excited about it. And then the next one, I think we're playing Halloween down in Cape. So
Another cool thing about Pops is we talked off record about Beyond FM. So the live show that happens on the Thursdays that I told you I go on it goes on Thursdays. That's actually a studio that is in the balcony of Pops. That's actually
really,
it's
like up
it's
there,
live.
right above the engineer.
Yep.
Okay.
Tony is actually, he does the lights and stuff there now and does a lot of promoting for both Beyond FM and non-Beyond FM entity stuff for Pops and things like that. So
That's sick.
pretty cool. So every time I go up there to do that, I'm actually going to Pops and going through the back door like you're loading in.
That's cool. Yeah, I've only met Tony a couple times, but he seems like he's really cool.
Oh yeah.
I love what he's doing up there. So
Hell yeah. Any other shows?
right now, I think that's it. Can't.
I was just gonna shout out Chris Coleman.
Oh yeah, Chris Coleman, man.
Yeah, man.
The man.
We love you, man.
The man. For sure. Any songs you guys working on that might be released before long, or? Oh, we're just gonna. Shh. Okay, so we got some stuff cooking though.
Maybe not.
Oh, I hear you. All right. Well, it's been good talking to you guys. I appreciate you guys taking the time and not only and coming to crash the barn during this blistering heat that they're dealing with. It's a hot box in here, and I appreciate you guys taking the hour and 9 minutes for the interview to do this, especially for the long drive. You guys have been great. Your music is great, and I can't wait to see you guys live at Notes for Hope, and I look forward to keeping in touch with you guys in the future.
Oh yeah.
Appreciate
you for
you guys,
having us.
man. Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, that was once again The Doubted here at the barn with me, JSTN, from the Midwest Mixtape Podcast. That's a wrap.